Well, hello there. This is Vitriol's a Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. It's been some time since I last played the Jaenisch Gambit. And so when this game came up, it was a 10-minute game of Rapid on lead chess, where the opponent tried to use Ruy Lopez against me. I was really pleased to get this game. Let's go take a look. Now, Ruy Lopez opening, of course, is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and the immediate bishop to b5, pressuring the knight. One of the best openings White has out of e4, e5. Now, the Jaenisch Gambit is the very tricky immediate f5, asking the question about that central pawn. And even though it's slightly suboptimal, Stockfish would never support it. It's a really, really good counter, a really good foil against Ruy Lopez. Now, the goal here is actually quite simple. Now, in this game, White accepted the gambit, which is actually what we want. The other knight is probably better. And here, what we've achieved is that we've deflected White's e-pawn, central pawn, to the side. And now we get to immediately push our e-pawn with an attack on the knight. Basically this allows us to win some tempo because that knight seemingly needs to move a second time because none of these squares are good. So these squares defended by our queen, these squares defended by our knight, does not really want to go back this way. Best move actually is for them to move the queen to e2 to pin. However, the logic here is after accepting, firstly, we win tempo by harassing their knight. We can often capture that pawn back with a developing move with our bishop. It's often very difficult for White to defend and keep that pawn. We have a potential semi-open f-file that we can exploit, especially if we castle short. And in this game, White decided to exchange first. And after the exchange, we have to capture this way. Otherwise, if we capture this first, the bishop defends. Okay, so I have to take this way first. We now also have a semi-open d-file. So this pawn potential will move. So semi-open f, semi-open d, potential semi-open to fully open e, fully open. We get accelerated development. We potentially get a really big early attack on White. That's really good. Now, attacking the knight, what are they going to do? They jump forward. It's an inaccuracy. You can see queen to e2 is better because here, these two pieces, the pawn and the knight, they're basically a bit offside. They're not coordinated with each other. They're not defended by anything else. Simple move for black. Capture back first, where now I'm not even down on any material and the knight is a target. White here decides to short castles first. Sensible looking move, getting the king out of danger. You can see it's a mistake. You can see the best move was in fact d4, partly cementing the knight in that position, but also to take away the d4 square for my queen. Here, queen to d4. Really powerful, covers that long diagonal, potentially, looking down that dark diagonal, pinning that f-pawn. That f-pawn will become a target of ours, as we'll see. And we're attacking the knight. This knight has moved twice. Pretty much, it looks like it needs to move again. So moving a third time, and that knight was almost pinned. Like this, pretty much has no other moves where it'll be taken by one of my pieces. Here, at least it's defended by the queen. I now get to long castles, king nice and safe, and now opposite side castling. So potentially launching big attack with my pieces. You'll notice all my pieces are basically developed onto the king side. And with my more rapid development, I actually can potentially make use of the fact of opposite side castling. I have the developmental advantage. They develop the knight, makes sense. I now decide to, push a pawn and also, harass the knight yet another time, forcing another move. So h5, knight moves forward now with attack of the bishop. Now I could probably just bring the bishop back here, but I decided to slip the queen back this way. I thought they'll probably take and I'll capture back. I thought that was okay. And it also means that, you know, simplifies a few things. So they take, you know, it's often a little bit, I personally find it a little bit tricky facing off against two knights. They now try to place extra pressure on that pawn. That's fine. Develop. I've now got two defenders. They try to add yet another attacker. And so here I move the rook onto the e file as well. Keep an eye on that f2 pawn. That will become my target. And here, by moving the queen, they've made a mistake. Because look, that f pawn is now only defended by the king. So that becomes a really potential powerful target. You could see Stockfish thinks that actually moving the rook back to f1 was the best move. This queen looks like it's developed, but fundamentally there's nothing there. It has no targets. It's not coordinated with any other pieces. With this pawn, two squares separated from the knight, this knight is hemmed in. Can't really advance forward. Here, I decide to let's place pressure on that f2 square, on that f pawn. Bishop to c5, attacking. Once again, that pawn is now pinned. 1, 2, only defended by the king. It's a problem. So white actually finds the best move. That is their best move, d4. Firstly, attacking the bishop, disconnecting the bishop from the f2 square. However, of course, I now have en passant. Now, the other important thing about d4 is that it opened up that dark square diagonal for the dark square bishop. And in this position, white has one critical move they have to play. Now, white here is not doing well. You can see on low depth Stockfish about minus 2.5, 2.6. At high depth, it's actually worse for white than minus 5. I'm really winning. White here has only one move that is not disastrous. Can you see it? Well, I sort of gave the game away before about opening up that dark square diagonal. It's bishop to e3. Firstly, again, blocking my my bishop, defending the f pawn, but also importantly, blocking the e file. Have you noticed? This is why this rook is not in a good place, because if I do rook captures rook, that is it. It's back rank mate. So this is a pretty strong, tactical resource that I've got. They can't do it in reverse because I have greater development. The rooks are connected. So if they capture, I capture back with my rook on h8, and I then take command of the e file. So here they had to play bishop to e3, and unfortunately for white, they don't see it. I think they saw that they had to defend the f2 square, the f pawn, but they did it the wrong way. With knight to e4, you can see it's a blunder. Mate in 2. Can you see the mate in 2? That's right, very beautiful. We start off with queen captures the f pawn, and it's a queen sacrifice. If the king goes here, queen captures a rook, back rank mate. So knight captures, but now remember that rook captures rook, back rank mate, GG. Very, very lovely. Now, in the actual game, I didn't see that, but I did see that this knight is, completely lost. I could take it a number of ways. A rook, I could do rook captures, or I could do knight captures. In the game, I decided to do knight captures. Now, Stockfish calls this a mistake because, of course, if I do that, there's no checkmate line, immediate checkmate, forced checkmate. However, knight captures knight, 3 attackers on the f2 square, on the f pawn, which is still pinned, only defended by king, completely winning. So if white doesn't play carefully, there's checkmate. If they do play carefully, they still lose massive material. White here saw the writing on the wall and opted to resign. Good game, GG. The big takeaway from this game is to try the Jaenisch Gambit against the Ruy Lopez opening. Although it is a bit suboptimal according to the engine, in practice it is often very winning and you get these dynamic, fun attacking games if you play with the black pieces. I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.